Hey everybody, welcome to casterscorner.com and another Kornercast podcast here on our channel. I'm your host Khalil, and we got a lot of fun podcasts coming up. We got a few in the can, we got a few more in the works, and we're trying to work those out for August. But yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff coming. So today's podcast is with Erik and Dave from Adventures in Collecting, the Adventures in Collecting podcast. They can be found at Instagram is where they're most active, AIC_podcast, as well as AIC_ podcast on Twitter. And you can look them up, Adventures in Collecting Podcasts on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel where you can listen and watch the unboxings as well as all the podcasts that they have. And adventuresincollectingpodcast.com is where you can find them. Erik and Dave, I'm going to tell you, they were a rock star moment for me, being recognized on the floor at Toy Fair and being run up on like, hey, it's great to meet you. Oh my God, it's you. They really made my day that day. Well, Erik did. I met Dave the next day. And they've been really great friends. It's been really great getting to know them and enjoying collecting and building community with them, and just all around really great guys. And they do their podcast every other week with interviews and talking with themselves. And between the two of them, which, God, I wish I had a partner that I could do it with. Like, if I don't have a guest, I can just do that. I have a lot of friends that I could do that with. These Erik and Dave are a perfect example. I said, hey, I need a podcast. And they were like, sure, what night you want to go? But I really enjoy them talking about all the stuff they do, as well as getting to know. They do really good, I have to admit, they do really good interviews with industry people. It's been really great to kind of watch them interview these people. And there have been times where I go, well, I don't need to interview them because I think that they've done a good enough job. Or at this time, somewhere down the road, of course, I'd like to talk to everybody, but they did such a fantastic profile interview, learning about Steve Evans from Hasbro and Tony and Lenny, and they've been doing really great interviews with some of the Hasbro teams and some of the other teams as well. So it's been really great to watch their pages and their followership and their followership, is that a word? I don't know. Following grow, and watching, their outlook on things kind of evolve. And Erik and I got into it the other day about how much collecting is part of you and how that impacts things. And I think I talked about it on one of the Toy of the Days. So make sure you go follow them, Adventures_collecting on Twitter and Instagram, adventuresincollectingpodcast.com, as well as Adventures in Collecting Podcast on Amazon, YouTube. I'm looking right at it. I don't even know why I said Amazon. You can follow us. We go to casterscorner.com for a full listing of all our previous podcasts, as well as our Toy of the Day. We are 220 days into 365, which is just insanity. The thought of 140 days left is just crazy. And we're going to be doing beginnings coming up. So that's going to be, I'm really excited about that series. I'm a little nervous about putting it together, but I'm really excited about getting it done. And follow us. We are at Casters Corner on all social media. Kornercast podcasts on Apple Podcasts, where you're listening to it right now. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, share it, rate it, review it, do all that stuff. And same thing, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have daily content for you going up, and we got a lot of stuff coming in the works. So make sure you stay tuned, because we give updates on that channel as well as here. So without further ado, this week's podcast with the guys from Adventures in Collecting, the Adventures in Collecting podcast, Erik and Dave, and myself. Enjoy, everyone. A new feature on Zoom.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh. Yeah, they just implemented that in the last month. I guess people are secretly recording.
I consent.
Yeah, I haven't left a meeting yet over it, but the funny thing is there are times where my main recorder is right next to me, so I can see it, right? But I sometimes forget to hit the Zoom one because we'll be having conversations right before I hit it. and you'll hear it on the other recorder going, this meeting is being recorded. So how you guys doing?
Did you get the Daily Bugle?
I did, and I won.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Look at you.
I won. We had a race. It was fun. There were 3 people involved, and I won. I crushed an 11-year-old. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah, I was saying I bought the set strictly for Firestar, so I paid $300 for a minifigure and got a building as an accessory.
I was gonna say she's your favorite.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, how you guys doing? What's up? What's new?
Yeah, we're doing all right. I've got a very angry infant who's trying. We're trying desperately to get on a sleep schedule. So she's not cooperating with that at all.
It's part of the game, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of the topic of the household right now.
And you had to come to a podcast.
Yep. So needless to say, the wife isn't the most happy person right now.
It's part of the territory. It is.
But here we are. We're doing it.
Yeah.
I made it happen.
I'm doing all right. I got not much going on.
You got your pops.
Yeah.
Lollipops.
So how's the podcast going? You guys you guys get some really good guests and have really, really laid back conversations that I don't seem to be able to have with these people, which is great. So I don't know. How's that going?
So I have to chalk it up. I don't know if I've ever actually talked about this, but I did study journalism in college.
I found that out today. We're Facebook friends.
That was we are now. Yeah. That was one of the things that at the time my school didn't offer a major in it, but I did minor in it, and the journalism program was really interesting at Montclair State University at the time, where there was no what's the word, no like tenured staff.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was an adjunct professor, and all of the professors were journalism professionals. So they weren't like, they had a degree that allowed them to teach at a college, but at the same time they weren't like professorial. Mm-hmm. So there was this one guy, and I had a very contentious relationship with him, a professor. He was a former writer and then editor at the New York Times, and it's one of those things where like he was one of the best teachers I've ever had, but I also couldn't stand him at the same time, to the point where I've actually blocked his name from my memory. But I wish I hadn't, because I'd love to reach out to him and be like, hey, you made my life a living hell for a semester, but I know how to conduct an interview because of you, so thank you very much. Yeah, he was incredible with the insight that he provided for that, and like the way to kind of pace questions and the way to kind of put things together. Mm-hmm. And for real, like if I ever bump into him one day, like I gotta shake his hand, because just stuff that I would be lost without, frankly.
I mean,
And I went to school for film and television, but not really much of just like an interview background. For me, I'll just write down questions that I'd want to know the answers to. Mm-hmm. I wish I had some like sort of technical prowess or some sort of like process to it, but for me it's just like, I want to know this.
And it works really well, the two of us together that way, because a lot of times Dave will, I can't get out of my own way, I guess is the right way to put it, where like I'm thinking about the process of the interview and making sure that the interview flows. Mm-hmm. And then Dave will have these like banger questions that I would have never thought of. And the two things combined, like I'll take the questions and like kind of reorganize them into the kind of the strategy or plan that I had set out with. And then it's worked really well for us, because it's a really nice combination of like a journalistic approach with a fan at the helm of the ship, basically. And you know, it to your point, we end up having these really nice casual conversations with the people who come on, and we're not you know, it never feels like we're berating them.
Yeah, I think it might also, there's a little bit of it that you guys are newer to the game with this stuff. And like, I mean, fans of the products, like clearly, like, and longtime fans of said products. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. But there was a period of time when I started that, reps or brand managers and things like this were very, like friendly, but standoffish. Like you couldn't have the casual conversations I've been hearing you guys have with some of these. I hesitate to say smaller, but they're not Hasbro and they're not Mattel, right? They're Spin Master or was it Jazz? A couple from Jazzwares, like your duo from Jazzwares recently talking about Pokemon and stuff. Those didn't kind of hold stuff when I started. So the relationship that I started with a lot of these people were always kind of like, you can't ask the Marvel team questions. You can't ask the Star Wars team, like the questions that you get to ask these other companies, and the other companies are a little looser with it. So I don't know if I can get out of my own way of feeling like I can't have the casual conversations with these guys that you guys pull off, because I have it in my head that I'm not allowed to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we've definitely never. I mean, I don't know if I'm speaking for you on that, Dave, but I've never thought about it that way, where it's like we're not allowed to have this conversation. It's always just kind of been naturally what we've done.
Yeah, because
and I've never thought of like, well, here's a question, like, we're gonna get to the hard hitting questions. Why isn't this stuff showing up anywhere? Like that's not what we're there to ask, if that makes sense. Because ultimately, like, what's the answer going to be? Well, it's not. Like, oh yeah, okay, we agree. But at the same time, it's just like, I'd rather talk about the stuff that, I mean, in general, like, we're dealing in a medium that is meant to be fun. Like, toys are fun.
Fun toys are fun.
Thank you, Ralph Wiggum. I want to ask about, something I think is cool, and like, how did it get that way?
Well, I mean, but to that point, like, I would, like, there have been many times where I've wanted to ask the Hasbro Star Wars team a question, right? And to your point, like, I want to ask how it got that way. And so, like, the Land Speeder or the Snow Speeder, asking, like, how do you get to the decision where you're going to make something that big? And then to that point, like, a follow-up to that was, now that has it been successful to warrant you continuing those kind of conversations? And that is a very, like, pointed question, right? It's not the gotcha, like, I'm going to get you, like the hard-hitting questions, but it's a general question going, hey, how can we as fans kind of support the line? Like, we know we can do it with money. Like, we know we can buy it. But, like, do we have to pre-order? Like, is Amazon's pre-order and Big Bad Toy Store and, like, these shops, are those pre-orders? Like, we hear from authors saying, like, a lot of their deals and a lot of things that go into their books being published to a certain extent is the number of pre-orders that they get ahead of time. It's not like the day of sale. It's not the stuff that Barnes & Noble is going to carry in store, or, like your little bookstores. It's the pre-sales that are really going to drive continuing working relationships with those authors. And we've never had those kind of been able to ask those questions of companies like Hasbro or Mattel. They always just say, oh, well, it was a really fun project, and we can't discuss what further future plans are. But it doesn't feel, I'm not trying to ask the pointed question of, like, what's coming next, but, like, the question of, like, how can we help to make sure that these things happen?
I think the other thing too with that is, and that's a really good point, in terms of us being kind of newer to the scene with this, is we've been listening to all of these interviews. Like, we've been on the consuming end of it for much longer than we have been on the back end of it, or on the other side of the curtain. And there's only so many times you can hear, and to be honest, even as contemporaries and peers now, like, I still listen to just as many interviews as I always have. Now, sometimes for different reasons, like I don't want to ask the same questions again. We don't want to be repetitive, that sort of thing. But I think, too, I kind of want to ask the questions that I know that they can answer. And, I mean, there are times where we ask questions and we edit them out because it either disrupts the flow of the interview, or we thought about it wrong and it's not a question that they can answer. And I know I get frustrated as a listener when I'm listening to an interview and the interviewer asks a question that I know the person's not going to be able to answer. So, I think that's something too that we take into consideration. And we, in all fairness, like, sometimes we catch some heat, because we kind of have a positive forward kind of approach to everything, and we don't ask some of those questions that certain parts of the fan base want an answer to. And frankly, the answer every time it comes up is, I'm not going to waste your time, I'm not going to waste our time, and I'm not going to waste our interviewees' time asking them questions that they're not going to be able to answer, or that will close doors to us in the future. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not it's not a realistic approach. It doesn't help anybody, and ultimately it's not going to get your the question answered. It's just going to make you that person.
Yeah. I think there's been some creative ways. Like, I think one of the things that has come out of doing it for a while is looking at the creative ways to get around some of those stumbling blocks. Like, I recently asked the Marvel team, I wanted to know if we were getting a Happy Hogan figure, and I think Eric, we talked about this.
Yes.
And it was one of those things where I was like, well, they're not, I can never ask, hey, when's Happy Hogan coming? Like, that's a dumb question to ask. Like, it's going to get a non-answer. It's going to get a smirk or smile and like, blah, blah, blah. So there's a little bit of like playing a game and going, sometimes it works. Sometimes it just doesn't work, but sometimes it does, where you go, so Michael Keaton and Jake Gyllenhaal, like, didn't sign likeness rights. So, like, we know we're not, you couldn't do them at the time. And my question to them was like, is Jon Favreau off the table? Like, has he come out and said squarely, like, hey, you can't use my likeness? Like, and there's been times with that with NECA, where like, we're never getting a Billy figure, and we're never getting, I can never remember the guy's name from Ninja Turtles, the first movie. Shredder's,
Shredder's like right hand man.
Starts with a T.
Yeah, I can't think of his name either.
But like, he is like like, he lives out, he might be a monk, he like lives somewhere, and he's like, he's not taking Randy calls. Like, he's out, like, you're never gonna get one. So it's like there's those moments where like those opportunities set you up to be like, hey, not asking when, not asking if, just saying like, is this figure off the table? Has the actor said, hey, I'm never signing off on this? And it got a really good answer. And so there are ways around it.
You're a good interviewer, though. I mean, that's
you.
The thing. You're good at what you do, and that is a creative way around it, and it is a way to. I mean, ultimately, I think in terms of like journalistic integrity, your goal is to, as an interviewer, at least this is the way that I think about it, is your goal is to do two things. It's to provide information to your audience from the expert that you're interviewing, but it's also to make the person you're interviewing comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason, like Dave said, there's no reason to put them on a hot seat. Like, it
depends on who they are. I will say, I have done that before, where I've called people out on stuff, and it doesn't go well, but sometimes it's worth it. But you're right. You're absolutely right. Like, I haven't done it in a while.
Yeah. Generally speaking, I mean, especially doing what we do, or, again, we're talking to people who make toys, and toys are fun. Like, there's nothing about what we're going to ask these, these marketers and these designers. Nothing is like actively going to like a life or death situation where you need to really grill somebody. So yeah, and you do a great job of navigating that. Like, you do get information out of, and I mean that's why you've been doing this as long as you've been doing it, because you're good at it.
Thank you. Thank you. I will take the compliment. I'm like, no, I'm not, like, no, I'll take the compliment. Thank you guys. Really. So how's it for you though? Like, you guys have been on like a trajectory that I hesitate to say it because I know what you're gonna think, but I believe it. Like, the trajectory you're on and the stuff that you're doing, watching you guys grow in the last year has been rivaling what I saw with Toy Shiz at the beginning. And like, it is, but it's different.
Under the desk.
It's different. Like, he does something very different than what you guys do. And I spent a lot of time today, like, self-reflecting, about what I do and how I do it. I was listening to a podcast, and I was listening to two stand-up comics talk about, how they got passed by and how the system won't let them get ahead. And I've had those thoughts in the past. I don't think I'm there anymore. Because I like the idea of the community that, like, we've had and, like, I've built around me of good people that do good work and I get to have fun talking about fun toys. But it's interesting because it's like, there's a little part of me that doesn't want to play the game. Like, there's a little part of me that wants to do it my way. And you guys play the game better than I do. And so it's been fun to watch you guys kind of, rise up the ranks and kind of pass me by on social media. And I know it's a game, and I know it's the algorithm, and I know it's all the things, but it's like, it's energy. Like, it's the energy to be able to put in the time. And I applaud you guys for putting in the time, because you guys deserve what you're getting. And I promise to the audience, the three of us will stop patting each other's on the backs about our work, and get to other things. But I think it's important to kind of talk about a little bit about, like, the work that goes into the growth and the reach that we have.
For our social media stuff, I think it kind of goes back to that idea of positivity and journalistic integrity, right? So the way that I look at how we post stuff is, people are going to formulate their own opinions. There are places where we insert our opinions. So, like, when we do an unboxing,
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about the things that we like about a figure versus the things that we don't like. Or if we do, like, some kind of list, we'll talk about why we like a figure, or maybe why a figure, didn't make the list for some reason. But, like, I'm not going to call anything out in particular because it defeats the point of what I'm about to say. But, like, when there's a toy that's announced, even if it's not something that we're terribly jazzed about, something that we don't collect, something that we don't care about, frankly, something that we think doesn't really look that great, somewhere somebody does care about it.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere there was a designer that put in sleepless nights. There is a collector that has been waiting for that specific thing in that specific scale, in this specific design.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our, I don't want to say responsibility, but, like, it's our job to just notify the community that, like, this is a thing that exists, this is a thing that's available, and here's where you can get it.
Yeah.
And if you want to go into the comment section and completely thrash it, by all means, that's your right to do as a member of the toy community and as a person who has a social media account.
Yeah.
But I think part of the thing is like, there is nothing really that we, and I mean, like, admittedly, like there, I don't know when this is going to air, but there's an upcoming Power Rangers event.
A couple weeks out. So
So at the time of recording this, we're on the on the verge of having another Power Rangers event from Hasbro.
Yeah, beginning of July. Yeah.
And Dave, I don't know when was the last time you watched an episode of Power Rangers?
The last time you did, probably.
And I never have.
I was gonna say, I think it's when you took me to go see the Ivan Ooze movie at the
Power
Williams
Rangers,
Center.
the movie.
Yeah. I have not watched Power Rangers since then, and whenever they make announcements, I look to other members of the community for context, or if I have to Google things. Mm-hmm. But again, like, it's just a matter of understanding that it's a thing that people collect, it's a thing that people care about, it's part of toy news, it's part of the toy community, and effectively it's our beat, right? It's what we cover. So and I think kind of having that level of openness, and that's something you mentioned Toy Shiz, and I feel like everyone could agree that he's kind of like the gold standard of how to generally approach things.
I think he is an information hub.
Yes.
And a source of positivity in a very mucky, ugly community.
Yeah, and he's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, one thing that I don't think I could ever live up to the expectation of like toy shit, like of being like, oh, you guys are on the path of like Toy Shiz. I was like, but I don't think I could ever live up to that. But like he's the best because he shows like you can be critical of something, mm-hmm. but still show that there's an affinity for it,
right?
And talk about like why this rules,
right?
In spite of that, like, I mean, we could all aspire to be, a bit more like Toy Shiz, I feel.
It was interesting getting to know him. For me, the last Comic-Con I went to in San Diego, for whatever reason, we ended up just hanging out most of the convention. Like every panel, I think we sat next to each other that we went to, parties and stuff. We hung out. And it was really interesting, and really humbling to see. And it's weird to say it like this. It is, but like, he wasn't the biggest guy in the room. Like from like not everybody was like gathering around him. Yeah. And I've seen that with other creators where like everybody just wants to be around them and they want to hang out. And Toysha is just kind of like, hey, I'm here. I'm doing my thing. Like, I'm just here for the toys. Like, this is why I'm here. Like, this is what I'm here to do. And like, I want to talk cool stuff with you and hang out. And I think that's why we hit it off, because it wasn't like, hey, everybody, I'm here. Let's go party. Like, and you're going to know I'm here. It was more like, hey, show us the toys. Let's see some cool stuff. Like, yeah. And let's talk about the cool stuff. And I learned a lot from him. Like, it changed my attitude, because I was in that dark place of like, let's tear it down for a while. From a certain perspective, and even with the community, like just watching you guys and Toy Shiz, and then Blaine kind of dismantle from the other side of like, hey, we're not going to put up with the BS, and we're going to call you out on it. So it's been interesting to watch both sides, but both sides come from a positive perspective of like trying to make the community better. Yeah. And get rid of all the kind of negativity. So, I don't know. That's my soapbox for a second.
Dude, like you said, it's the best part about doing all this. Like sure, like the access to the people who create the stuff that we love is amazing, but the community itself and the friends that we've made through this, you first and foremost, it's kind of been it's not even kind of, it's the best part of it. So it just flat out is the best part of it.
Absolutely.
Are you guys
and the friends we've made along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how trippy is it going to be for you guys when we go back into this community where we see each other in person and people start to recognize you?
I mean, honestly, I didn't even think about that.
Because Because like you guys, like I'm telling you, like the growth, like it's been like a steady kind of like jump. It's like Mario on that last little thing at the end of level 1-1, where it's like it wasn't like a do. It's like a boom, 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 boom. Watching you guys grow and doing the interviews with Jazzwares and Spin Masters and Diamond and I'm losing my place with like all the guys, people and ladies. You've been talking to some ladies too.
Hasbro, Lego.
Yeah.
We have our.
You got the Lego stars. You got the builders. Like
yep, we have
yeah.
Brickmaster Amy, Brickmaster Jamie. We have some fun stuff on the horizon too. Some things that we can talk about off air.
That's fine.
That we're planning.
But okay, so let's get away from like the whole journalistic integrity and that side of it, but like without stealing your questions that I hear every time I listen to your podcasts, like why what got you guys into doing the every other week 2-minute toy news 3-minute podcast?
Yeah,
because I'm listening to it going, wait, it's 2 minutes, it's 120 seconds, like what? Wait, but it's 3.5 minutes, like what? So I listened to the whole thing and I'm like, they got me. It's just like a Marvel movie. They got me to stay through the credits.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes of news buffered by roughly 60 seconds of
2 minutes ish.
Yeah, intro and outro.
So where did that come from for you guys? Like why do it? Like why add more to the plate?
So we were talking. I'm a metrics hound.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at our metrics and I noticed that like our drop off, and not to get like super technical and nerdy, but like our valleys were becoming substantially lower than our peaks were high.
Mm-hmm.
And I came to the conclusion that it was because we were disappearing every other week.
Yeah.
We had no new content on the feed, and time is just rough. Like there isn't enough time in the day in general. And I was honestly trying to think of a way to, flat out to like hack the system.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a couple conversations where we had some ideas back and forth. And Dave, I think it was actually you that kind of came up with the format idea of doing like just a recap, but it wasn't. It was just kind of like we should recap something and it should be short.
Yeah, just to like have a thing, because with the good thing about interviews is they're awesome. Like they're a lot of fun, and
the good thing about interviews is that they're awesome. I love you. Never change.
It's just
Thank you.
You really cut to the core. Like it's just like no, this is what it is. I'm good. Like it's a lot of fun because I'm in situations where I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. But at the same time, like I'm sure in the Pokemon one, you heard like my complete just kind of like, I am 7 years older and my brother was a really big Pokemon fan. So I'm on the fringes of this, but I understand what we're talking about. Mm-hmm.
So like, things like that are kind of like, that's the fun part of doing it, is you're immersed in all this different stuff. But at the same time, I was like, not that the Just Us episodes were like the best, but we're missing like we haven't done like a regular episode where we just talked about news and stuff we bought. And then we were like, well, we can't do that because then it just becomes an episode. So what can we talk about? Well, we're already posting all this stuff, so let's just do like quick news bites, because we're not talking about these new things that are coming. And I feel like that's kind of like the the toy news thing to do, is to talk about new stuff.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Although you might have to change your intro since you've been doing so many interviews, because you don't talk about hauls anymore.
That was another thing that like that I'm really anxious about, is like every other week making sure that I had something new to talk about that I bought. And I was starting to get to the point where it was like, I'm going to have to just start buying things to buy it, and that makes me really uncomfortable, and I don't want to do that. And at the same time, like, I didn't want it to be, you know, like, I didn't want the pressure to be all on Dave, where it's like, I didn't get anything, so off to you.
Which generally wasn't going to be a problem, because I'll at least get something.
But it's one of those things where it's like, I worry about, like, sustainability, and it's like, sure, like, I have a spreadsheet with all the stuff that I have pre-ordered, and there's going to be, like, a week in September where, like, I get it.
The truck backs up to your house.
Pretty much. Where, like, all of FedEx comes to my house with Marvel Legends.
Yeah. We're so... The Amazon truck is like, yeah, I got 2 today.
Yeah,
there are 2 trucks. There are 2 trucks. We're just gonna back.
Not 2 trucks, but like, yeah, it's like, yeah, we got 2 for you today. I'm like, okay.
So right now,
Thanks.
our mother and my mother-in-law are doing kind of double duty to help watch my youngest, the infant that's in the house, while we figure out what we're gonna do for daycare and stuff like that. And it's funny because when our mom comes to my house, she'll be like, everywhere I go, there's just packages. There's packages with your brother. There's packages here with you. Is there ever a day where you guys don't get a box? And I'm like, sometimes, but then I'm sad.
Yeah, every morning before work, my mom says to me, she's like, "Are there any boxes today? Do I got to put out the table?" Because she's limited in her mobility. So, but she puts out a table out the front door for the packages to go on, and I'm like, nope, not today. Or sometimes I'm like, I don't know, maybe something's gonna show up. A couple companies reached out. We'll see if something happens. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And then there's the big ones that come, and she goes, "You didn't tell me it was going to be this big." And I'm like, I didn't know it was going to be 3 times the size of the dog. I had no clue.
Oh my goodness, that one from that one after Hasbro Fan Fest that had the Nerf shotgun in it.
That was a pretty big one.
The box was huge.
The shotgun is right there. But yeah, no, it's yeah. Like I feel that, like, that pressure of, like, I decided to put this little monkey on my back, and right now I'm sitting at 197 as of tonight. Days in a row of new product.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's, like, with your...
Yeah.
Is that just counting the stuff that you're doing for the YouTube channel, or...
Well, what do you mean?
The toy a day?
But what do you mean, is that just counting?
So is it 197 days in a row for that now?
Yes.
Or is it... Okay.
Yeah, no, 197 days as of tonight. I think it's either 197 or 196. I think it's 197
oh my goodness.
Of days in a row. And I have a big bad toy store order coming, and the box is 12 pounds.
That
to give you an idea,
is a pile of loot.
That's a lot.
That is
a pile of loot.
It'll probably break down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 days of content for me.
Oh my god.
And Diamond's being nice and sending me some stuff, and I got Shop Disney order coming. So but it's like, it's this constant, like, all right, we're out. Like, tonight I was out. Like, I had no new product tonight. And I went to a couple stores knowing there was no new product to find. But, I went anyway, and I picked up stuff I didn't need. But I already reviewed it, so I can't do it again. But putting this little, like I said, monkey on my back of, like, I'm doing 365 days. Like, the goal is 365 days of toy reviews, and not a toy of the day. I decided a long time ago that they were just going to be, it's just going to be called toy of the day.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you do a few.
Yeah, I'll do either a wave. I've broken up Legends into smaller chunks. I'll do groupings. Find things that, like, maybe I didn't review in the past and bring them in to review with something new and talk about the connection. But I had to start pulling from the past, and so I started the beginnings, toy of the day, which is chronologically going through my toy collection. So to cover my back days.
You just called it the toy of the day. It doesn't mean that it has to be new.
Well, but see, but the initial. So, but here's the thing: the reason that this came out was I decided to form the LLC last year, and make it kind of official. Like I am going to treat this like a second job at the moment, and so I had all these receipts and I had all these toys, and we were in a pandemic, and I was trying video editing and it wasn't working, and I was trying to, do more photos, but sitting down and writing articles, like they weren't getting any views. Like the pages, people would look at the pictures and then pop off the page. Yeah. And I was getting more interaction on Instagram than our like 2-page toy, like written toy reviews, because nobody was reading them. And so I said, the initial thing was like, hey, I'm going to go through every toy I bought in 2020 and as a toy of the day. And so I started with the toys I bought in November and December, and then carried through January till now, July. And I've only touched one toy that I bought pre-November so far.
Wow.
I have a little bit of a problem, and I recognize and I appreciate that. And sometimes I hate you guys because I buy shit like this.
Yeah, you don't blame me.
Eric pressures me.
Blame that. You have to blame Jay. You got to blame Jay.
Yeah.
Jay and Toy Bro. You got to blame them.
Yes.
Because they're the ones who sold me on the Plunderlings, man. They started taking pictures of them, and I was like, oh my god, I need these dumb things.
Jay Hernandez did, and then talked to you about it, and then now I have one, and I've got 3 on pre-order, and I want the giant whenever he hits.
The Plunderstrong?
Yeah. Because they're just goofy and fun.
I actually won Toy Bros contest that he had for that for the green one for Drench. The translucent green one. And
then you can do fun stuff like this.
Yeah.
Where Hulk takes them for a walk.
I need that Hulk. That was the Diamond Hulk, right?
No, this is the 80th.
Yeah. I need the Diamond one.
It's sold out. It is sold out. It is very hard to come by, and I'm sorry I didn't pick it up initially.
Yep, same. I saw one for $65 over the weekend.
But I think they're doing a second run. So
they are.
Yeah. So I didn't know if it was out there.
Holding out hope.
Yes.
Yeah, for me it was weird because I found that Zelina Vega in Target this past weekend, and my girlfriend was with me. I was like, I don't think I need anything at Target for the time being. Like, I was like, I guess I'm just gonna come and see what's on the shelves.
Yeah, and you have your Invisible Woman coming your way too.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'm good at Target until the next WWE wave hits, I guess.
Can we talk? Have you been watching? I'm actually can be part of this conversation. This is a really great feeling. And this one I blame on Dave. I have been watching.
Blaming us for everything.
Huh?
Yeah.
It is. And this is why I say you have the influence that Toyshiz has, because you are influencing
like
our stuff.
Blame me on this one too.
Have you been watching?
We're going where I think
the A&E biographies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And did you watch the I forget what they call it, the treasure ones, like where they go looking for the past memorabilia?
I haven't watched all of those yet.
Okay.
I haven't touched those yet.
I think the only one, there's one I haven't watched and I can't remember who it was. I watched Mick Foley. I can't remember.
Yeah, I saw the clip on YouTube with the Mankind mask.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm buying WWE figures. So there we go. And actually going out looking for them. So
listen, I went from having like a couple of wrestling figures. I just bought one myself today. I got myself
she's a good one. So here's the only problem is I'm not buying anything modern. Because I don't watch, like I've tried to watch modern wrestling, and I can appreciate what NXT is. And listening to the guys I think one of the most fascinating things about the whole thing of watching the biographies was listening to the guys talk about working the gimmick and now working the story.
I'm in, man. Dave got me. Like I am in as much as I was when I was like 15. Like I'm in. I watch AEW twice a week. I watch Raw. I watch SmackDown.
See,
I watched the pay-per-view from, was it last weekend? Yeah.
So, and I don't know if I'll get any of the legend stuff. I finally got my Ultimate Warrior, thankfully.
Nice.
Amazon finally came through, and I kind of want Junkyard Dog. I just don't.
That Legends 12 wave is so good.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a slippery slope because there's part of me that wants the Masters ones, but I'm like, the prices on those in Wave 1 and Wave 2 have soared, so I'm like, yeah, I can't touch that. But I want some of the Legends waves. So,
I mean, the retros are coming back, and that's what got me back into the wrestling figures in general. And I have all those unopened, which is.
Are those the little ones or like the big ones?
The little ones.
Okay.
The Hasbro style guys.
The Hasbro style.
Yeah, I remember
and you just
those.
ordered more from Zombie.
Yeah, I ordered some of the Zombie Sailor ones. But yeah, I mean, like, even just, the Sid that's coming out in the SummerSlam wave, where it's like referee SummerSlam Sid or WCW Sid, and it's like, oh, it's a 2-in-1 if you want it to be, so you can get 2 if you want. I feel like I'm gonna be settling on just WCW style Sid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you ever display,
it reminds
that
me
figure,
of the Galoob.
There's no way that you're going to be displaying him as a referee. No shot.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but it would be really cool, like that Hogan match with him as a like. I don't know.
But if you would if you wanted to, you could take a picture. Throw the referee suit on him, take a couple pictures, and then put him back in his singlet or doublet. Right, he's gonna double it on
the vest. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's been fun to go down memory lane with these things. But at the same time, it's kind of like, it's one of those lines where I can draw the line partially. Like, I've been able to avoid a lot of them just because I don't know what I would do with them. Like, they have to have something that really kind of captures something for me.
Yeah.
And so like Rock and Stone Cold, for sure, and Triple H and that kind of whole era. And if they ever did like and I don't know with Matt Hardy being in AEW, if they'd ever, if we're ever going to get because I've never liked the ones that Mattel has done of him.
Well, I mean, the Jazzwares figures scale with the elites, and the Matt Hardy that they have out now is a very good Matt Hardy. It
is a very good Matt Hardy. I don't like that facial expression.
Oh, like the broken Matt? Yeah.
Yeah, like the big smile, kind of like.
Is the Brood era 2-pack still on ringside, Dave?
I don't think it is. I think they finally sold all those.
Because they had that for a long
that
time. I'm looking
2-pack is awesome.
Hang on,
I got that one
now.
Yeah, like I was into it with the tables, ladders, and chairs, and the Dudleys and Edge and Christian, and I was heavy into WWE back then. And so it's been fun to kind of go down that road. But again, it's a little bit. I've been joking around like saying it's your fault, but it is a little bit of your influence. Like me wanting to be able to listen to your podcast and know what's going on. Like so learning a little bit about it and going down the nostalgia road. But on the other hand, it's also looking at it going, hey, I need a toy for the day. Like there's a little bit of that, and there's that idea of like, I need something to talk about every day. And running a site like we do, when you make decisions like that, it becomes a lot harder to kind of maintain the pace. And for some reason, I've been able to maintain the daily pace. But the other thing is, I really do walk in and out of the store sometimes and go, Dave would be proud of me. I didn't ask for anything.
I've reached the point where, so we haven't talked about hunting in a while, but I no longer ask for things at Walmart.
Oh, no, I haven't done that for years. Well, I
So-
take that back. Once I did and it worked out, but other times, no.
The last time I asked for something at Walmart was the Ninja Turtles movie 2-packs.
Mm-hmm.
Only because I knew for a fact that they were there and they were at a store that legit I knew had no space for them.
Right.
Like they did not have one of those sections, so I knew that they were just going to sit in the back.
Yeah.
So I patiently waited and I asked, and that did work out well for me. But I've now, and again, like I don't care if this is like a big secret that I'm, that people don't know about. But if you have a Walmart that is not a 24-hour Walmart near you, which I don't think we have a 24-hour Walmart in New Jersey. Maybe the one in Teterboro. I don't know if that one's 24-hour. It might be a midnight one, but most of the Walmarts around us are 11 o'clock closers.
Yeah.
So what I've begun doing now is I go to Walmart at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And they have all of the next day's reset out in the middle.
Yep.
And if there's something that I want, it's there. And that's how I got that Shang-Chi wave.
Yep.
That
Yeah,
I got the
me too.
first hit of
Yeah.
it. Was able to grab a set for me, grabbed the set for towing around up in Canada, and hooked him up. And, that's the only time to go to Walmart now. Like I'll still go just to go and take pictures in the middle of the day, but if I'm actually actively hunting something for myself, that's when I go. I go before they close.
It's either late night or first thing in the morning. Like those are the two times. Like if you can't hit those two times at Walmart, it's not worth it.
Yeah, in Target, it's all about making friends. You gotta be nice to the people who are in the toy section. And I've at least at my Target, I've gotten really lucky. I'm on first name basis with the young lady that
That's
stocks
great.
the toy aisle, and she's amazing. She'll scan any barcode for me. She'll tell me when stuff is on the way. It's it's funny because we'll sit there and usually we'll chat for a little bit before we kind of get to business, if you will. And not to toot my own horn, but the last time that I bumped into her last week, she was like, I wish everyone else would stop and just talk for a couple minutes, because they just come in and start yelling and asking for things and then they leave.
Yeah.
Well,
Sometimes
have a couple
nice
minutes.
works. Sometimes nice works. Like it really does. It's one of those things where, of course, you should always be nice to the people that you're dealing with. There should always be that idea.
Yeah.
And sometimes they want to have the conversation. So it's nice when you find people that are like, hey, cool, appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
you
that's
gotta
how I
read the
found
room.
AEW Series 1 back last year.
Oh yeah, that dude, man. That
I
guy
remember that.
physically stopped you from leaving.
Yeah. He was like, hold on. I was about to leave.
That's great.
And all of a sudden out came the shipper. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's the shipper that never made it. The shipper came out and the product never filled. Like the store never put it out, at all. Like they kept it in the back and somebody bought it out of the back room.
So it's funny because with that shipper, we later found out that there was only one shipment. So a store only got the shipper once, obviously. But they changed how they were sending the shipper halfway through the allotment. So some stores were getting the shipper and then getting boxes, and they had to stock them. Those were the original versions. And then they started sending the shipper already stocked and shrink wrapped.
Yep.
And people were
That was
getting...
how I saw it.
Yeah, and some of the mint on card collectors were getting a little upset because when you shrink wrap an already stocked pallet like that, it was banging up some of the cards.
Yeah.
On the figures. So, that was, man, what a time to be alive. That was a weird couple weeks.
That whole summer, because that whole reset between Jazzwares putting out the UFC and the AEW stuff, and then Mattel was launching Masters and Target was launching Cobra Island. All those drops all happened within 3 weeks of each other. And in some cases were all happening at the same time. And then you had the Deadpool wave and the Spider-Man retro wave. And then McFarlane was dropping new stuff. It was just the influx of it's going to be what September is this year. September 1st this year is going to be what August 1st was last year. It's just going to be insanity. Like, I don't even, thank God I have a savings account, because I'm going to have to move most of the money out of it into my checking for that first week of September just to cover me.
I'm honestly, the way that the Marvel Legends team
and they got another one on Friday.
Hit me with there's more tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow or Friday?
There's one on Friday, and Toyshes has one for tomorrow now.
Is that,
he just announced he's got a different one?
but is that real
reveal.
or was it? I thought
No,
that
that's
was
real.
something goofy.
No, he's got a real reveal for tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
So
by the time you see this, you'll already see this. I personally think from the coloring on the box, I think it's going to be the Watcher from What If, but I can be completely off base for whatever's coming on Friday.
for the Agent M one on Friday.
Yes. Yeah.
I honestly, I've been staring at it all night, and your guess is the best thing I could wrap my head around with it.
The colors match, like on the side of the box. Like
Dave, I don't know if you saw this. I'm going to send you a picture right now while we're talking about it.
I zoomed in on it, and there's an opening flap on the right-hand side of the picture, and it's got like this starry stuff, and I found a picture from the What If cartoon that matches that pattern. It's just a thought, just an idea, but we'll see. Because he's the only one that hasn't been leaked. So, we'll see. 2 days for us.
This is the picture, Dave. This is what the product looks like. You can get an idea of how big it is. It's
tall.
And there's literally no... Yeah, there's no other information about it other than the fact that's it.
And so
it's a Marvel Legends.
We know it's Legends. We know, but it could be role play, right? It could be.
Yeah, it's part of it. Could the three things that are the Marvel Legends name that carry that name are the 6-inch figures, the 3 3/4-inch figures, and the role play items. So it's one of those three things. Something to do with it is in the box.
Oh, I forgot about the retro line, the Kenner line. Shoot.
Which is why I was saying.
Yep.
That's big though. Like,
yeah,
it's
but
tall.
It could be a 3 3/4 scale.
Yeah.
Galactus.
But they've done that already. I don't see them going back to that well like that. But you're right. It could be, especially with them doing Silver Surfer.
Well, if you look at the side of it, so what Khalil
it looks like
was
there's a
hinting at.
purple light shining on it.
Yeah.
But
You can see that on whatever that chair or stool or desk is behind it.
Yeah, but on the right-hand side of the box, there is a flap with Velcro.
Yeah.
That flips up.
If you double tap, Dave, on that picture and you zoom in on the right side, like if you start in the corner and go up, you can actually see that part of the box is a purple, like
starry.
It almost I was gonna say it almost looks like cosmic purple.
Yeah. And there's a picture of the Watcher from the cartoon that matches that color. So that's my best guess.
From the What If cartoon.
From the What If cartoon coming on Disney+.
That makes sense.
We'll see.
I mean, Diamond's reissuing the Ramirez Watcher, one of the greatest figures ever made.
Well, and then the thing that throws it off though is that little like card on the bottom with the wax stamp, which I'm like, what the hell? Like,
and even the piece of like masking tape. It looks like a gear crate.
Yeah,
like a musician's gear crate.
I just thought of something.
Go ahead.
But I don't know if anybody else watched Loki yet, so I'm not going to say it.
Well, here's the thing. This is going to air in like 3 weeks. So by then,
but I don't know if you guys did yet.
Yeah, I didn't watch the newest Loki yet.
Oh, you son of a... Okay, so...
I normally would have been watching it.
We'll do this, Dave, and just be like, okay, are you talking end credit?
No.
Okay.
I know there's a mid-credit thing.
Yeah, well, there's after credit. Yeah. All right. Are you talking...
I'm talking before the fight. I'm talking fight scene.
Oh, you think it's...
I think it's...
Well, I mean, this isn't a spoiler for Eric. No, but this isn't a spoiler for you.
I'm going to cover my screen.
No, what does that matter? I have to say words.
No,
but you can mouth it.
But
This is
like
great radio.
Sylvie's sword? Like, I mean, that's not a secret. That's not a...
Yeah, no, she's got a sword.
Yeah.
No,
I'm looking away.
Oh, that's a good one. That might be, but you know what though? Okay, I'm on it with you, right? But like, here's the thing, right? I agree with you, and as Marvel fans, we want everything in every shape and every form, right? But
does that make sense?
It makes sense, but the equivalent of that would be, there's a good example of it. I'm trying to think of.
I actually don't. I know what you're thinking, but I don't want to say that yet.
Right. Like the need might not be
right
as strong as we want it to be.
This is fun. Now I'm I'm excited to watch Loki because the show's fantastic.
Those of you that have seen this episode, which is episode 4, Dave and I are talking about the
wait, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take off my headphones so I can't hear.
Okay.
I'm gonna take off my headphones.
Right. That's fair.
When you're ready for me to come back, both
I'll
of
do
you
this.
give me double thumbs up.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So
I think it's the time. It could be the timekeepers.
It could be, but like
but it's such a huge, like, it winds up being a red herring as far as we know.
Right, and like as much as we want it, it doesn't seem important enough to warrant like that kind of thing.
But just based off of the size, if it's going to be a figure, like, they're large when she's holding the head afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I was also thinking, could it be just the head?
Could be.
Like, it could be a prop like that.
That would be a weird product.
But as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive...
that's what this is going to be?
I think, like, that big, I think this is the time for con exclusives to be announced.
Okay. Because,
because they're late.
But if we're getting, like, they announced the Sylvie, and they announced... Like,
True.
Could we just be getting a full wave?
True. And my thought was maybe, yeah. No, it could be them. It's without seeing more of the series. Although it could be the post credit,
it could be, but
a box set of all of them plus timekeepers and something like, just like
that'd be a lot.
It would be, but again, as a Comic-Con exclusive, like, it'd be great. Should we let him back in?
We can let him back in.
Okay.
And I'm back.
Okay. Sorry, like, it was one of those things where I was trying to figure it out, and I'm like,
listen. For the good of the show and the programming, I was happy to duck out and let you guys hash that out.
I was trying to think of a code word too that I could just be like, Dave, like, and I had it, but I was afraid to say it because you would have gotten the reference. So anyway,
listen, I appreciate you guys keeping the spoilers.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Everybody has, and I'm gonna do you a favor, I think. Okay. I got 2 texts at 7 a.m. this morning that were just like, and I was like, okay, shut up, don't say anything. Watch the episode, and I was like, yeah, it was good. Like, so, like, I don't think, for me at least, like, just temper expectations.
Okay.
It is not Luke Skywalker. I don't think it Mando kind of ruined it for me. Like,
I see. I think every episode's been better thus far.
Yes, I agree. This was a really good episode, but like, Mandalorian for me just kind of has ruined all Disney Plus shows. Like, it just it ruined Vision and WandaVision, Cap and Winter Soldier. Like, it just kind of, for some reason, I think for me with the Disney Plus shows, I wish they would stop doing interviews, like, because the interviews and talking about it and kind of like the buildup of it just never hits that mark. And Mando never did the mid-season interviews, so we just went through the season. So
yeah,
it was good. It was good. I'm not saying it's not good, but it's not. I think next episode will be better. Personally,
I'm a big Doctor Who fan,
Uh-huh.
so
I think they're going to continue to just build. Yeah.
sings to me. The show sings to me as a Doctor Who fan.
See, I've never seen
Especially
Doctor Who
with, like,
before.
Especially with like a rumor that supposedly they already are going to be doing season 2 of Loki.
Yes. Yeah. They telegraph a little bit. I will say they do telegraph a little bit.
I mean, here's the thing though. Like there are some of these guys like when Robert Downey Jr. was done, he was done. Like it was obvious he was like, sure, we'll see. Same with like Chris Evans, right?
Back that truck up. I don't think anybody's done, buddy.
But like you can tell sometimes with like the actors, like Tom Hiddleston absolutely loves being Loki.
There's going to be a Lionheart show. Robert Downey Jr.'s can just sit in a booth and speak.
Yeah, I am almost certain with that seed that they planted in Endgame.
Or Lionheart. Jeez, I don't know why I got Chris Jericho. Ironheart.
Ironheart. And I heard this is the rumor. It
is Wednesday. You know what that means.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the Ironheart show, I think, is we're gonna totally get a whoa.
You good?
There was just such a loud thunder that like my entire display shook.
Wow.
Yeah, I just heard it. So
damn.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited. And the Secret Wars or the Secret Invasion show also planting seeds for things to come.
Armor Wars, Secret Invasion,
there's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, in this new Loki show, I mean, there, if nothing else, 2 episodes, right? 2 episodes in, because the third one was the one that aired today.
No, fourth aired
today.
This is
fourth. I mean, then they're planting the seeds for the new Avengers. It's like they have so much. Kevin Feige knows what he's doing.
Yes.
He knows what he's doing.
So we're at about an hour, so I will let you go. Family stuff.
Well, I actually wanted to ask one question for the three of us since we're on.
Yeah.
So by the time this airs, we'll be close to, if not during Comic-Con, right?
What would be Comic-Con? Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't we each say what's one thing that we want to see revealed at Comic-Con?
Well, but okay, so here's the question though, because San Diego is actually doing. Have they announced that they're not doing the November one?
They're also doing that little November one, but there are so many little things happening.
They're doing the Comic-Con at home thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So I'll start since it was my idea, but I would love to see at NECA, specifically, and the reason why I thought of this question is I'm blaming Blaine. Blaine posted it on his Instagram, and I thought it was a great question. But out of all of the horror stuff that NECA has done, I would love to see some Final Girls or some like victim characters. So like a Heather from Nightmare on Elm Street, you know,
Nancy.
Or Nancy,
Heather
excuse me.
Langenkamp
Heather is the actress, yeah.
Actress.
I just watched New Nightmare the other day. That's why that was Heather was stuck in my hand.
Because she plays herself.
Head. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Nancy would be great. I would love like a Kevin Bacon for Friday the 13th. Like just like some of those like camp counselors or like teenage characters would be awesome as figures, especially like with all the photography and everything. You have all these great horror movie classic villains, but you have nobody victims for them to really like you know take photos with. You got to like mash up a Marvel Legends figure and photograph them from behind, so it's just hair.
Listen,
so, yeah, I would love to see some human victim / hero or heroine characters.
Listen, I want Billy Loomis. I want Sidney Prescott. Like, I would love some Scream figures. Like, I'm not big into the horror genre, but like Scream was big for me, so I'd go for that. Some civilians, I guess you'd call them. Like that's what they're kind of nicknamed. Okay. Dave?
I mean, for me, I always appreciate whatever the, Mattel WWE Comic-Con thing is. Slim Jim, Randy Savage a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That thing was so good.
Mr. T.
Yeah.
So like, they did the Shockmaster one year. So there's always like a thing like that's kind of like a little off the wall and hilarious. So I'm curious to see what that is this year, because there's a lot of lore in WWE history that would kind of fit in.
Yeah.
It's just a question of what. But other than that, like, what would be like a specific reveal? I don't know. That's probably the best thing I could think of.
Okay.
Being put on the spot.
Oh, geez, this is hard. It really, yeah. Like it's hard because I do so much right now it's like
No, I'm laughing because it's true.
My routine every night when I come home from work and I decide whether or not I'm going to stop at a store, I'm like, McFarlane, no. Spin Master, no. Legends, no. Star Wars, no. Like, I literally run through the entire action figure aisle and go, do I need to check it? 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 And check it all off. So for me to be like, hey, what are they going to do? I don't know what, like, Legends usually just crushes it. Legends is usually the one that kind of like sets the tone for everybody. Like Yojo June, love Lenny, great guy. They do a great job with the figures they do, but we only got 4 reveals, and they didn't even talk about the Walmart reveals for Stalker. So it's hard to be like, hey, I really am looking forward to seeing it online.
Yeah, I think it's always with the Legends team, like you said. I mean, it's like not fair to even call them out because you know that they're going to put out at least some, like, if it's not something for
it's going to be the
MCU
HasLab
collector,
they're going to do the HasLab reveal, like, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's
Black Series team will probably have something cool too.
Yeah, or show some design stuff. They've been doing a little more of that stuff. I don't want to sound jaded. I really don't want to sound jaded. Like, because I'm just looking at it as like dollars and cents. Like, how much money am I going to have to spend? Like, God damn it. That's a really hard one. Like, because, so here's the thing. Comic-Con has never been, for me, about the toys. All about the toys, like all about like that thing. It has been about meeting people for me. Like there is a really deep kind of, like, a friend of mine did like a wall of pictures, and I was like, oh, I should do that someday. Because I've gotten to meet some really cool people. And so what am I looking forward to the most is next year's Comic-Con. Like, it's not this year, it's next year's, where God willing, I can go and it'll be live and it'll be in person, and I will walk through the Hilton Bayfront lobby and go up to the 3rd floor and just be like, holy crap, that's Ralph Macchio, and oh my God, that's Jack Black. And like, and I know it sounds like braggy, like I get it, but like, it's the one place where, like, I feel like a professional in this field. And so I am looking for, okay, so here, bring it all together. I'm not looking forward to a specific reveal. I'm looking forward to that week or so where all the reveals happen and we get to all interact and we all get to go, holy crap, because it's the community that keeps me going and finding that connection with everybody and building the community that we have and expanding that, and bringing in new people and keeping the positivity going and just being like, are we living in a period of time where we get a lot of cool shit and so happy that we get to kind of geek out about it. So
Here.
So it's a cop-out answer. But it's true, because it's like, I have gotten all the Marvel Legends that I want. Like, I got Firestar, I got Blink, and I'm getting Happy Hogan in the next month and a half. So like, if you ask me all the Legends I have with the addition of those 3 in the last couple of years, I feel like everything else is just kind of like great. I got Nightwing figures. I got, great if Mezco were to do a Nightwing, that would be amazing. But I don't see them doing it. So, it's just like, it's the experience. I miss being, like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I miss being on that crowded, packed floor, bumping into people, pushing people out of the way, and just looking around going, just move, like road rage, like to the nth degree, like just like move, get out of the way, stop taking pictures. And if you're going to do it, learn how to do it while you're walking. Like, as frustrating as that is, I miss San Diego.
Get off my lawn.
Am I the old guy in the block now? Is that what it is? So
You might be.
Yeah,
You might be.
I might be. I have my moments. I do. I have my moments. I will write letters. I have written letters. I have to write another one. I'm 2 weeks behind. I owe somebody a letter that reached out for some feedback, and I owe them like a good letter. So I will say, tell everybody where they can find you guys.
Dave, where can they find us?
They can. I feel like I'm doing the end of the show read. You can find us at AIC_podcast on your favorite social media platforms. We have a YouTube channel. I feel like most people don't know that.
Yeah, I wish more people knew about it.
We filmed a DeLorean, a toy DeLorean.
We didn't talk about that. Crap. Okay, next time.
He blew out his clutch right after he filmed with us, like 2 days later.
Not that day though.
Oh,
No,
okay.
like 2 days later.
No, it was like a week later, I thought.
He told us about a week later, but it was only like 2 days
Okay.
later that it happened.
Yeah, there's like a really cool intro.
It's amazing.
On an
And Eric
unboxing.
got the outfit.
We have many unboxings on there.
I had that in my closet. I didn't need to buy that.
I know. I wasn't questioning that. I saw how comfortable you were. You were not wearing new clothes.
As much as I enjoy that there are only 316 subscribers, like Austin 316.
See, you've beat me again, but that's okay.
Please.
Yeah, but I wish some of the like. I mean, again, like I feel terrible saying it, but like some of the thousands that we have on Instagram would come over and hit that subscribe button
Seriously
on YouTube, because like if you like the toy stuff that we post on one place, let me tell you, we post other toy stuff that you can't see on Instagram.
Yeah,
or on our YouTube channel.
You would think that happens, but it doesn't. And where's the podcast, guys?
You can find Adventures in Collecting wherever you listen to podcasts. So you can search for Adventures in Collecting, or you can go to adventuresincollectingpodcast.com, and you can listen there.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. It was good to talk. Can't wait to see you guys in person.
Always a pleasure. And same.
Yeah, thanks, Khalil.
Thanks. This podcast was brought to you by Jackson Studios. Jax!